Welcome everyone to the Crypto Mania episode 1. Altcoin Fever, the next big pump. I'm your host Ayub, senior analyst at Elliott Wave Forecast. And today we'll be diving into Bitcoin's new all-time highs, where it's headed next, and we'll be covering the hottest altcoin bullish setup ready to pump. So feel free to drop your question, favorite altcoins in the chat, and we'll analyze them during the session. Let's get this bull run started. Okay, first of all, I hope the audio and the video is working fine as well. Okay, let's allow a few people to join. We'll be starting with a quick overview for Bitcoin. I mean, the market is moving today. We are seeing Bitcoin starting to pull back, which is really good at this stage. We are hoping to see this pullback against April low to develop. So let's start by going over this weekly overview, because this is basically the main idea that we are going with the more aggressive view. We know that recently Bitcoin did manage to make new all-time highs after taking out the peak from January 2025. We did manage to reach around 111k. Technically speaking, we are starting to see the pullback, but most importantly for us at this stage is to understand how the structure is developing. Now, we can start seeing that a lot of people are calling already for a peak, because they are referring to what happens in 2021 at this period of time when we are entering the final phase of the market. You can remember from November 21 that the peak happened just after making new all-time highs, which is why a lot of people are afraid of the next phase of the market, and people are cautious at this stage, which will be reflected also later on the data which will be shown. But for us, one of the main reasons we are not looking for this to be the peak in place, we are still expecting the cycle to extend at least into October 2025 based on the 4-year cycle. We have no reason to go against the current cycle that is still in progress. And most importantly at this stage, the bullish sequence that is opening after breaking the previous peak is still calling for a target higher toward at least 135k, 149k. So that's basically the main target that we explained it in a previous live session last week. But we want to go step by step, because as the market is going to into correction in the short term, it should be providing a buying opportunity specifically for alts, because after Bitcoin breaks into the previous Bitcoin breaks the previous peak, we know that alts usually follow, which we've been seeing in the recent few weeks. But the most extension usually happens around the end of these moves to the upside, like we saw last year when Bitcoin did manage to make new all-time highs. We saw a period of hype around the altcoins. After a correction, it did manage to make another high later on in 2024 around November, and we saw a lot of altcoins, of course, managed to make big gains. We are expecting the same here to happen in the coming few months with the rest of the market. And the most importantly, we need to understand how this can provide clear setups in the short term and how you're going to take it. So let's now take a look at the short-term cycle for Bitcoin, because the rally from April, which is managed to make, of course, the new all-time highs, is now either ended and we are looking for a larger 3-ways pullback, which could be even retesting the 100k or even slightly below it, even toward the 90k area. That's totally fine as long as we stay above 75k. We don't expect this to be too big or aggressive, but as you know, correction are always tricky at this stage, because you don't know if the market is going to give you 3 waves pullback, or is going to turn into a 7 swing like a double 3 structure, or this could remain just within a sideways structure. But we go with the more aggressive view. The first 3 waves pullback, you look for the rest of altcoin if they are providing clear opportunity, and we are seeing some of these coins, most importantly the most bullish coins, that are setting these setup in the short term. Now this pullback, as you can see, is purely technical. The moment it managed to break into new highs, it reached the 618 area of the wave 3 and 4. This extension to the upside is the cycle coming from August 24 in connection toward the cycle from April 25. and you can see purely technical move reached the 618 area, and we started the pullback. Even on the short term, it's ending a 5-wave advance. So if we take a look really quickly in the short term structure, we can see after ending the 5-wave advance here, it broke out, it broke down the channel, this bullish channel that started from April. So our main low should be the 7th of April. Bitcoin should remain supported, and now we are seeing the first 3 waves pullback from the peak. If we do here, this is the first 3 waves. It's reaching our, technically speaking, a blue box area, which is technically an extreme area where buyers are looking to enter the market. It's a technical extreme where algorithmic traders also look for the market to resume the move to the upside, or at least bounce in 3 waves. This area is around 105, 102. If from here Bitcoin will have 2 potential paths, either it's going to resume the rally and to new highs, or the market decides to develop a double 3 correction in this case, which would be a 7 swings. We have 3 waves down. It could be bouncing higher maybe during the weekend or next week. Then it could even do a 7 swings lower toward 97, 93 area before the market decides to resume higher. So overall, every pullback here should be a good buying opportunity for traders, either to start from current levels around 104, 102, or from lower levels maybe next week if the market decides to do the double around 97, 93. And then we expect in the continuation in the weekly cycle to remain in progress toward 135, 149. I believe by end of the summer, I mean around maybe September, October, start of the final quarter of the year, we expecting a peak to happen there. So now, what type of altcoins you should be looking for a buying opportunity? Now, most importantly, you need to understand that the structure from April low is the key, because as you can see, Bitcoin, an impulsive 5-wave advance to the upside, provided a higher high, and now it should be looking for the next higher low above April to start the next leg. Not every altcoin around the market is giving you that opportunity. So you need to seek or search for the clear structure to be able to take it. Now, I'll start with a few examples. One of the most bullish structure that I currently see is Hyperliquid. The Hype coin did manage to make new all-time highs. The previous peak on December 24. This break to the upside is basically similar to Bitcoin. This is showing a bullish sequence after breaking the previous peak. And now I'll show the chart with the labels just to explain the idea. So the rally from November and to December was the first leg. It did 3 ways pullback into a good buying opportunity last month, similar to Bitcoin. If I show you, this was a good equal legs area to buy it, which I've been sharing on social media, because trading these extremes is always gonna give you an edge. This was a buying opportunity around $11. And from there, it did start the next leg higher. Now the question here, of course, is the target to the upside still valid? Can we open further extension based on this structure on the short term? Hype should be remaining, first of all, supported above 11. But if we are not going to expect the market to correct deeper, which is always the case, we can look for short-term fib levels. And we can see that it's already within the 23% area, 23-38%. I expect the structure here to try to establish a 3 swings within this buying area. So for example, if this is only the first leg, I'm just giving examples here to explain, we could be seeing something similar to this into next week. Then starting from maybe midway of June, or maybe in the early part of June, we could be seeing a good buying opportunity again here to start the next leg to the upside. It doesn't need to play like this. Market could just give you shallow pullbacks and could resume the rally, because if we are trading within, technically speaking, a wave 3 in this case, then the market could be just aggressively, you could have this as a wave 2, and the market could aggressively extend higher. Now the targets to the upside, I mean, a minimum target would be around 42, but that's too shallow because we almost reached that target. We reached 41, and this is only, I believe, the first leg of the wave 3. So we can expect at least the 618 area for hype to be seen around $63. And more importantly, later on, which is one of the most questions also around social media, could hype break above $100? That's for sure on the table, because if the extension extend and we have enough time, even we are expecting the cycle entering the final phase for BTC toward September, October, we can see we still have enough time to develop this wave 3 higher, which could finally, if we're going to get an extended wave 3, we could finally reach somewhere around $96-$100, and that could be maybe the final stage for hype later on. Still have enough room to the upside. Even the best buying opportunity was to buy it around $11, $10. That could give you even a 10x to the upside, but around these levels, technically speaking, going back to the chart, this is still a good area to be able to buy the pullbacks, because we already have a bullish sequence after breaking the previous peak. So I would rather buy an instrument like, or a coin like hype that did break the previous peak and will have a better bullish structure in the short term than looking for coins that are still behind the previous peak. Now, the second type of coins that I would be interested on is the one showing an impulsive structure from the lows, like a 5-wave advance. We have here an example, which is SUI. Now, SUI, you can see, is still not trading at new all-time highs. The peak from January 2025 is still here. It's slightly lagging compared to many others, but the structure from the lows is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a bullish 5-wave advance or 5 swings. Therefore, we expect at least another similar leg to this one, that the cycle from April, another similar cycle to the upside that will be taking place after ending the current correction. Currently, it's correcting the cycle, the entire cycle from April. So this cycle has ended, and now it is in the process of developing either 3-ways pullback or maybe a 7 swing. This could be all the correction, which is already within a buying blue box area, technically speaking, between $3.49, $3. And we are also reaching the 38% here around $3.3. So if this is going to be similar to what I show you earlier in BTC, that we are ending the 3-ways pullback from the peak. If we go back to BTC, you can see it's already also within blue box area. It should either bounce higher next week, could start the next leg from higher from there, but a possibility of a double correction will remain. Could be retested on lower levels, maybe below $3, then the market will rally. So these are the two main paths that you can expect starting next week. And basically early June, the market could be choppy as we are correcting the April cycle, but you expect this to be a good buying opportunity. It's basically a good time that we are seeing this correction happen, because the more you extend without the correction, the better, the bad structure could take place, and you won't be getting these consecutive pullbacks, because sharp pullbacks are not easy to catch, and they are tricky within for traders within the short term. But when you get this type of structure in the short term, in terms of seeing a clear 3 waves, it could help you. A better structure in the market is not always a 3 swings. A 7 swings could give you a better edge. I'll show an example of a 7 swing structure here, which is taking place in the short term with Dogecoin. You see here, Dogecoin started the pullback earlier than the rest because it ended the cycle on the 11th of May. It didn't make new highs last week, similar to what like BTC did or some coins there. So it failed, and now it's showing 1, 2, I'll show here, 1, 2, 3 swings. It failed to make new highs, and now it's doing, this was 4, 5, 6, and it's doing 7 swings to the downside. This is a double 3 correction, or what we called 7 swings, and this also gives you an edge in the market. The reason I'm not recommending, for example, Dogecoin as a potential trade, even this is going to be a good hedging or buying opportunity in the short term, is because I don't see a clear 5 waves compared to SUI. If you look at SUI here, we have a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, if you look at Dogecoin here in the short term, it's showing basically only 3 swings higher. It failed to make that new high. So technically speaking, it's less of a bullish structure compared to SUI for the short term pullbacks. Therefore, you can still be looking for this as a good bouncing area. It should be finishing this correction after 3 swings, and as long as it stays above 0.13, which is the April low, then I expect this to turn higher again. I mean, it all depends on how you're gonna play the short-term structure. I mean, there is plenty of opportunity around the market, but you need to combine the market. You need to combine the structure between Bitcoin and the rest of leading instruments. Then you can expect to find a good buying opportunity. So here, for example, it's between, I mean, it's already within the area 0.19, 0.17. So probably over the weekend or early next week, we're gonna see a bounce taking place in BTC and the rest of the market. And this is a clear example of that. Now, let's move on to more bullish coins, because I just want to show a different example than the ABC that we are seeing here in SUI. This is a better structure for sure for trading, because it has 5 waves up, but in terms of correction, this is the correction that provide a better edge. Now, I'll show another example of a 5 swing, which is K2 here. It's already showing 5 waves from the previous lows of April. Still didn't manage to make new all-time highs, but the 5 wave is supporting the idea. If I zoom in into the 8-hour chart, just for better perspective. After finishing the 5 wave, it's looking for a 3 waves pullback. Now, where can be looking for the 3 waves pullback? Because we don't have the internal with a clear connector. You can be using the Fibonacci retracement level to define a potential area, which is in this case around 1.7, 1.3, but you need to develop a corrective structure here to be able to trade it. If it managed to do something similar to this in a type of 3 waves pullback, then next week this could be a good buying opportunity. You don't need to rush the longs in these cases. Let the market comes into the areas and then wait for the extreme area to be able to buy it. I mean, this market can develop. I mean, some instrument will just follow Bitcoin straight away. Some could be lagging. I'll show an example from a different coin here, because if you are saying, okay, let's play the correlation game, Bitcoin is at a buying level here. It should, if it's going to bounce, then majority of the rest of the market would be bouncing. Yes, that's true, but sometimes it's not going to be tick by tick, and many instruments could just fade that bounce and continue the correction. So that's why I would rather, for example, on this one, I'll wait for the market to develop a clear 3 swings. Then I will be looking to buy it around 1.7, 1.33. That's just another example how you can be looking to play the market in a different way in the short term. Now, another example that I wanted to show, which played the extreme area, quite nice. Just keeps bouncing today, strong bounce. So this is Venom. I'm not saying this is one of the coins that you should be looking to buy. I'm just explaining the structure or the best structure that are more favorable for buying opportunity. This one peaked on April. It started the rally earlier in February, but the peak was in April, so slightly different from BTC. But you can see it did develop into 3 waves, while the rest of the market was making new highs. Bitcoin was making new all-time highs here. This one stayed sideways. But when Bitcoin started trading sideways recently, the correction to the downside continued, and you can see we have a clear 3 waves. Now the market has to decide. Either it's going to resume the rally to the upside. You can see the strong reaction from the blue box here, around 0.1. Either the market will be following this path, or this could have been just a W. This was a bounce in X, and the market will still give another 3 waves pullback like this with the rest of the market. Then, in that case, you should be again looking for another buying opportunity. You always wait for the market to give you the structure. If you just decided to buy because Bitcoin is breaking higher and expecting the market to extend, this one failed to do so, but it did manage to give you another buying opportunity at lower level. I hope this idea is clear. Please let me know if you have any question about it. We'll continue going over the coins one by one. You can drop the question about the coins in the chat, and I'll go over them. Let me just double check refreshing the page, because it seems to be a Not refreshing on my side here. Let me just double check. Okay, not sure why X is not refreshing the chat, but anyway, let me continue, and I'll try to check again in a moment. So let's continue with some other coins, like Deep, for example. This is another potential tradable instrument, which is, let's say, a leveraged position for SUI. It's part of the SUI ecosystem. This one is still similar to SUI, trading below the peak from earlier this year. It's not yet a bullish sequence. It needs to break that peak to confirm it, but we have the 5 swing to the upside. From the lows, 5 waves up, and now it seems to be developing a 3 waves pullback. This is another one that didn't manage to make new highs recently. It peaked on April. So similar to Venom, this is another example how you allow the market to give you, don't rush the longs or don't rush the buying until the market give you the clear levels. In this case, it's looking for a 3 waves pullback from April peak. It should be reaching this equalized area around 0.12, 0.1. It can go all the way to retest the lows, but ideally this is the area starting from 0.15, which is the 50%, all the way towards 0.1. We expect this to provide support with buyers, and from there it should be starting the bounce higher. Remember, these structures are critical to define what is a better buying opportunity. Yes, we have the 5 waves, but remember, it's not yet paid into new all-time highs. That's why, for me, between all the majority of the coins, specifically the leading big market cap coins, I think, apart from Bitcoin trading into new all-time highs, within the big 10, I think Hype, which is almost reaching the top 10, is not yet there, but should be soon when it's managed to break higher, is the one with the bullish sequence after breaking the previous peak. That's why I keep buying these pullbacks and looking for higher targets. If I go back to Deep, in the short term, this pullback is already entering the final phase. It could, of course, extend in time and price into maybe next week or mid-June, but then the market would be providing a good opportunity to buy in June, and then late June, July, August, you should be seeing a strong rally taking place in the market. So it's always step-by-step a process. Okay, let me see the question here. I will leave ETH and Solana by the end because I want to focus on the most bullish coins. But yes, ETH and Solana, they will have their moment with the next move because we are still expecting the alt season to develop, which is I'm going to explain in a few on the chart. I just wanted to start by showing the structure that we are focusing on for these bullish coins with Hype and an example with the SUI, which is showing a 5 waves. These are the best structure that you should be watching in the short term, specifically within the cycle from April. Because if you have a favorite coin that is not showing a clear 5 wave advance from dollar or a strong one, the most probable scenario that it could be failing below the previous peak and it won't be making new highs. I mean, I'll just give a random example. I don't know, I'll just take, just give me a random example. I'll show you from altcoins, specifically from altcoins that are not rallying big enough. I think I have one here in the showcase. Let's see. For example, Filecoin, one of the most followed coin. I see a lot of question about Filecoin. You see here, for example, this is April cycle. What do you see? This is April cycle, the 7th of April, same as the rest of the market. What I see here is only 3 waves to the upside. And it's not even breaking above the previous peak from March or February, not to mention new highs above 2024. So you can see this is massively lagging. And this is showing you that why these coins are weak at this stage. So technically speaking, it has a probability even of making new lows. But again, similar to the rest of instrument, it could provide a floor when it managed to finish this correction, similar to the rest doing 3 waves. So from the peak, it's technically speaking reaching an extreme area. But do I like buying Filecoin? No, I would rather go and buy Hype in the pullback because Hype is leading. It's already breaking the equivalent peak of this. If I put, you see, Hype already took this peak. Filecoin is sitting within the lows. So this is a weak coin that I would avoid. I just wanted to give an example. That's why I want to focus on these type of coins that are making new highs. Now, what of the most important thing is the altcoin season happening? Why we are not seeing all the coins making a new highs? We are not seeing the same that happened before. Of course, that's not the case. As we explained in our previous webinar, the market is more diluted this cycle. We are seeing more than 1 million coins left and right. So the volume and the market number of coins is not proportional at this stage. That's why you are seeing less volume entering the coins, which of course reflected in less gains. Therefore, I mean, we need to focus on the one that are providing you the edge. I mean, the altcoin, when you look at the altcoin index, which is just a way to overview the market, is not giving you any good signal or anything. It's not tradable index, but it gives you an overall perspective. You can see we are still within the Bitcoin season because we are not seeing massive rally taking place yet. But usually this is the best period of time if you are following the market during the bull market. When Bitcoin break into new all-time highs, this is the best time to start looking for buying opportunity in alts, because when Bitcoin trade into new all-time highs, it won't be doing a 2x from here. Yeah, it could be looking for 200k, but as we are not looking for a strong aggressive, usually even Bitcoin does it 2x, usually the alts will be doing double or triple that amount. I'm talking about big cap. The mid market cap will be even doing 10 or 20x. So that's why you'll be seeing this altcoin index during the summer turning higher, something similar to what happened last summer. It was accumulating for a while. Then by the end of the summer, it started moving to the upside with the coin outpacing Bitcoin. And of course, the peak was in December. So this is a good indication that we are not seeing the massive gains yet. So technically speaking, the altcoin season, which I have a different perspective, it doesn't need to be exactly the same as before, but we will be seeing something similar to this during the summer, which would be maybe altcoin summer season. And this will be reflected on the leading coins. Not everyone will be doing so. One of the perspective that you should be keeping an eye on is always the volume in the market, because alt season is reflected on the volume that you see specifically on dexes outside, apart from SEX like Binance or Coinbase. The most importantly is to follow, is the volume getting in? Are you seeing new money, new inflow in the market? That helps you to define if we are really taking into a new highs, or it is reflected into coins breaking to the upside. We can see here, this is the monthly DEX volume. Basically, majority of DEX is here. We can see what happens last year, earlier in 2024. You see it started ticking higher from December all the way to the start of the year, and that was basically reflected in this move in altcoins. Same thing happened by the summer, around before this last push in November, December. We saw the volume starting to tick into the upside, made even new highs, and then we saw the altcoin season taking place. Same thing we can see is happening here. We are making new highs in terms of volume. This is big volume that we saw specifically this month, and this is a break to the upside, which means there is volume moving into the market. Of course, could be for selling, could be for buying, but most importantly, when we are ticking up in volume, that should be reflected in the price. And we already saw, I mean, I know not every coin is going to do your 20 or 50x, but I've been following the market. There is a lot of coins that did manage recently, in the recent 2 weeks specifically. I've been seeing a lot of 100x's, 50x's. It's not going to be exactly the same. Not every coin will be doing that. Specifically, the newer coins are making those massive gains. I mean, you need to focus on the right niche and the right sector and the right narrative to be able to catch those moves. It's not that easy, but people are missing out on this game because there is a lot of coins on the market. There is not enough liquidity to pump every coin. That's why despite seeing the volume, you can look at your portfolio and you are not seeing even 2x in your portfolio. And the question is there, the question that you should be answering, why my portfolio is not moving up? Well, basically because you are, I'm not going to say it's in the wrong coin, but basically you are missing out on the right narrative at this stage, because you should always look at the narrative that is taking place. For example, we had EI recently, like we saw last year. By the end of last year, we saw memes, of course. We are not seeing a lot for gaming. We are seeing some DeFi project also pumping. So the narrative always moves, and you need to have the right tool to be able to develop. I mean, this is not a fundamental live show, but that's overall the idea. You need, I mean, this is also reflected on the charts. That's why I'm showing this, because that helps you to see that we are really getting into a potential move into the summer. And even if you missed the lows in April, it's not too late to be able to trade these opportunities. I just also wanted to show, for example, you can see in the Solana, which was basically for memes last year, the volume is starting to pick up, but it's not as high as we saw last year. You see the highs? Because when the meme coin, let's say the meme alt season ended by the end of December, around November, December last year, the volume dropped and it's not picking up big enough compared to other dexes, which mean the market is moving to a new narrative. I mean, there is other tools to define it, but currently, recently, the market is moving into EI and DeFi. We also noticed that the EVM transfers in terms of transaction and volume is also picking up. And there was big volume taking place on Binance chain. This is also an indication that the market is preparing a move in altcoins. So these key matters, because we know that the market will always move after Bitcoin breaks into new all-time highs. And specifically, if Bitcoin is expected to hold April and extend toward 121 or 135 or 143 or even 200, which is on the table, you know that during that move, the alts will be trying to catch with the rally with Bitcoin. They will be outpacing Bitcoin. So that's why we are sharing this type of structure for you to be able to define which coins are you looking to buy. Now, I'll go over some questions. Now, the leading coins, like I showed you, Hype or Soy or Deep, there is a couple of others that I wanted to go over before we answer the questions there. For example, Rect is, I don't want to say it's a meme or related to NFT, but I think it started as a meme. But the idea of seeing a 5-wave advance, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still not yet breaking new all-time highs, but overall, this is a clear, strong impulsive structure. Technically speaking, if you're a short-term trader, that's not really the best time to enter the long side. Of course, many will disagree. Many could be looking just to buy and hold. I mean, if you are a technical trader and you are looking maybe for short-term potential, you should allow the market to give you a clear 3-ways pullback. It doesn't, when I put a 5 swing here, doesn't mean it's a 5 waves and the market will just drop with a bigger correction. That's always the obsession of anyone looking to just apply Elliott wave for theory, which we look at a different way. This is 5 swing just to show you. I'm not putting waves specifically because I don't expect 5 waves and big 3 waves down to the downside. I mean, this could turn into a nest 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and the market could keep extended. But most importantly, when you see the 5 waves, you know that the market is supported. So if you are looking, for example, for the coin here, it could provide a 3-ways pullback. It's already doing 3, you can see here, 1, 2, and it's within the 3rd wave. It could be just a small pullback without any deep correction, and it could resume the rally. It could give you something similar to this until next week, then a rally. I believe this could be retesting, let's see, the 38% isn't that far away. Maybe around this area, which was the previous price to it and to support, could be seeing this type of a pullback and high again, but this is an answer to keep an eye on it because we have a clear 5-wave advance from those. Similar to what I explained for Sui. This one is basically stronger. It's a newer coin. I always favor a newer coin rather than looking for chasing the old coins. Another one that we discussed before, which is Subsquid, is showing a clear impulsive. Technically speaking, it made new all-time highs. If we, if we don't consider that this spike, because this was what the ICO spike, or the IGO, sorry, spike. But technically speaking, this is showing a higher high sequence, and this is April compared to the rest of the market. You see here, it kept creating. This was a high, a low, a higher low, and now it keeps creating this, and now we have a higher high sequence again. The market will be either holding the recent lows, or if you are looking for a really good buying opportunity, then we can wait for the pullback to preview this level. This is going to be a potential maybe for next week, similar to the rest of the announcement. This is a potential buying opportunity. If you are looking for a bullish instrument, then a pullback into 0.2, 0.16, and from there, I can expect this to bounce to the upside or even rally to new highs. Okay, let me continue with a couple of questions that I noted from also the comments in the profile as well. Okay, just refreshing the chat because seem to be kind of locked here with X. It's not showing every question until I refresh. And I'm sorry if I'm missing any question, because let me just pop the chat here just to be sure. Allow me a few seconds. I want to open it in a different browser just to be sure about it. In the meantime, let me open the next chart, which will be SPX 6,900. As you know, this is the meme coin. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Just double checking. Okay, closing this one. So this is one of the charts that I want to talk about, because it's not yet, of course, breaking new all-time highs, but I believe this has a good structure as long as it's staying below, above April, and more importantly above March, because the correction in April we didn't see any new lows, which is really good because it shows you that it's looking to do that second dimension playing out with Bitcoin. While Bitcoin did manage to break the lows, SPX 6,900 managed to hold it. Now, most importantly, this is developing into a potential nesting structure. Now, if it's really going to break the previous peak, it's still in the process. This could be just 1, 2, and this could be another 1, 2 development, and the market could extend later on. I mean, this is overlapping structure. Usually, when you see the overlap, either this is a correction, or if the market remain bullish, then this is building a nest. And if it's building a nest, then potentially it's going to be a strong wave 3 to the upside. In that case, I still expect, for example, this one to, if it's going to trade into new all-time highs, it will be at least looking for 2.1, 2.7 as a start of the next leg to the upside. But technically speaking, ideally we can expect targets higher toward $3 all the way toward, let me just get the 2618 here, toward $5. So there is big potential if we break above the previous peak. It's step by step. It's not showing the best structure, for example, similar to Sui. It's not showing in clean 5 waves, but there is a potential into developing a nest, because we have a higher high compared to BTC here. This is April. This is March. So if this is really not starting the wave 3 yet, then you have the potential, if the market give you a 3 waves pullback in the short term, then you could be looking to enter it, of course, looking for the next leg. I'll show in the short term here, which is technically speaking already in 3. So you see here, it's already as a short-term trader. This is a typical ABC pullback. ways from the peak, perfectly hits the, which is technically speaking a blue box in the short term, around 0.99. What happens from here? The market started to bounce. You see, this is how this is a purely technical move. These opportunities happen every day and every time frame. It's up to you. If you are a short-term trader, I mean, I would just refer to the daily and 4-hour as a better swing trading opportunity. If you are an investor, just look for these daily opportunity. I mean, for me, the best example again is hype. If you are a daily trader and you are looking to invest in the coin, April was the best buying opportunity. 3 swings in the daily chart. And what happened? After reaching the daily buying area, you just buy without leverage, just buy spot, and you just enjoy it almost 3x. I mean, more than 300% to the upside. So that's how the market plays out. So it's the same for the short term. If I go even in the 1 hour here, as I showed you on SPX, it's showing 3 ways pullback. So the market could provide a short-term buying opportunity, and next week either we'll resume the rally new highs, or we'll do a 7 correction, 7 swing pullback like this, and then rally again. You don't need, of course, you don't need these type of new lows, but I'm just putting a potential structure, because if this is an ABC, then you are seeing 1, 2, 3, could be looking 4 and 5, or this could be just done here. Most importantly, these are extremes that you should be looking to buy. Popcat, which I saw a question about it. Popcat is similar to the short-term slightly lag enhancement. Even I have it here on my list for, I think it's not one of the leading. Yeah, it's not one of the leading. So I'll go to the secondary chart. The memes. Yeah, you can see here, it's also correct in April cycle, which is really good. So it could give you, this one could give you also a buying opportunity. It's not the clearest 5 waves, to be honest, but yeah, we can count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an extended 5. So it ended the cycle. You can be using this as another example. That's good. So let's see the potential buying area. You can see even the targets to the upside you are using this as a take profit. Around 0.57 is the equal area for this cycle, and you can see from there it's starting pulling back. Now it's entering another buying opportunity. Now this is a bigger structure, so you can be even switching to the daily and focus on the short term. If the cycle from April has ended, then the first buying opportunity is around this level. If you are looking to buy, then you should be looking to start entering the market. If you are swing trader, I'm not suggesting leverage position, but for swing trader, if you are looking to buy the spot price, started from 0.36 all the way toward 0.22, you can expect the market to develop a low here in the coming week, maybe, or the coming 2 weeks. I don't know when exactly the market will be having the exact low, but you should be expecting the market to find a low early June, and then it will be resuming the rally, either to new highs, which will be the start of the next cycle, or just a larger 3-wave bounce. Now, if you are buying around these levels, does this guarantee new all-time highs? I don't think that's the case, because if I zoom out, you can see we are far away from breaking the previous peak compared to, for example, K2 or Hype, which already made new highs. So this is in the short term. All it can give you, technically speaking, is just a larger move, and it could even still fade below November peak. That's why I'm saying not every coin will be making new all-time highs. This one could fail after a larger 3-wave bounce. Doesn't mean this is not a good buying opportunity. It still is for short-term traders. You buy here around 0.36. You could be aiming for $1 later on. It could be decent 2 or 3x move to the upside, because there is still always the chance for these coins specifically. I mean, we are seeing meme coins that could super rally in just a couple of weeks. Nothing has denied that we could maybe make a new all-time highs, but I'm just going with the higher probability. I mean, if it's going to break into new all-time highs, it could open targets to the upside towards $3 and above. But I'll always take it step by step. First of all, you need to see that it managed to hold above April. If it holds above April, then yeah, you can expect this to start another 5 wave to the upside. Specifically, it managed to make this peak of May. One of the question was about also FART, which is seeing a big correction take place. I have the chart, I think, here. I put it just for explanation. FART coin, one of the hottest meme coin in the recent few months because of the strong rally that we saw by the end of the year, which was basically the peak in many coins. You can see that we are ending the cycle, or technically speaking, ended the cycle from March in this case. It's similar to SPX 6900. It had a higher low compared to Bitcoin in April. So now it's correcting the cycle. Now we can count this as a 5 waves. We have a clear, we can count clear 5 swing, but you see here, I'll show you that's the idea. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The internal is not the best because there was kind of overlap. So even we can go with the idea that, let me see, there is no overlap here. It's kind of missing in that case a swing, but what I want to explain is if this is turned into a bullish structure to the upside, then I'm not seeing in the short term a good buying opportunity because it's straight down from the peak. Even I'll show in the short term that we could be seeing extremes, but this is correcting the entire cycle, and you should be looking for, in this case, the market to develop a reversal from here. I don't see a clear structure compared to, for example, let's go back to the even PopCat, which, see here, this one, at least we have a clear T swings. It will be bouncing, but technically speaking, I don't see the clear structure. I would rather have something similar to this than just trying to pick a bottom, because we don't recommend picking a bottom or a peak for the market. You allow the market to give you the clear structure to be able to trade it. Now, in the short term, you can make the argument now that we have 3 ways from the peak. It's a straight move, but we can go with the idea. I believe this could keep extending. I'm not saying this is going to be straight. This is going to be the low or the buying area, because it can keep extending toward this potential 50% around 0.9 to correct the entire cycle. But you know that the structure is still developing. So you need to allow it to develop into a clear, either could be a 5 wave, then a bounce, then another low. Or if this is really just a straight ABC, straight zigzag structure, then I would like to see a confirmation. How a confirmation will happen here when we finish the cycle, or something similar to this. Then I would like to see a strong reversal within an impulsive structure. Then you can be maybe later on looking to buy the secondary low. I'm just using my own observation, but doesn't mean it's going to happen like this. I'm giving you a better perspective for these coins, because you can go just and buy and hold, but if you want to have an edge with this technical structure, you need to allow the market to give you the technical structure. Now, if it's just 3 ways from the peak, around the 50% area, which is the previous lows turned into the previous resistance into support from these areas, yeah, that could be a potential bouncing area. Usually when I don't have a clear structure, all I want to do is allow the market to establish a low. I'm not going to peak this low. I'll allow it to give me a clear reversal, which is an example, I think, here. Let me just go back to the short term. Yeah, for example, this one. Even this one was kind of a clear, but I would allow the market to give me this pattern, for example. Strong reaction, it managed to hold the low. Then I start looking for impulsive or bullish sequence to be able to trade it. So in this case, let the market find a low. Then after the reversal, the market will define if it's going to hold the lows and create a higher low sequence. Then yeah, that could be your sign that FART coin could be starting the next leg higher, and it could have the potential of breaking all-time highs. I believe I have a target for this one. Just let delete the labels and put again, because I'm watching this closely, because all the new coins has always a higher probability of breaking the previous peak compared to the old coins, which is our focus for today's session. Just refreshing again. So a potential target to the upside, if you are starting a new cycle, I mean, could be looking for something similar to this to happen. by the end of October. I'm always keeping an eye on the timing because I want this to develop in the coming few months. I'm not expecting the market to extend into 2026. So if the structure is supporting that extension, then yes. So in this case, we could be expecting higher targets toward $4 if this is going to be an extended wave 3, or minimum target is 2.9. So if you are just an investor buying these pullbacks against April, then yeah, it's still a 2-to-1 risk reward, so that's still worth it in terms of trading. Any other coins that you are missing, please let me know. I'll continue now with looking at ETH, Solana, XRP, and some others to finish the session. It's going to be almost 1 hour here. We'll be doing another, of course, a second episode probably next week, which will be looking at a different perspective for altcoins. But at this stage, as the market is looking for this buying opportunity, you should be using the technical structure to help you out in the short term. It really gives you an edge in terms of trading or even investing. Now, if I take a look at, let's start with ETHUSD, as there was a question about it earlier. For some reason, the X chat is not refreshing again. So please, can you repeat the question that you asked about ETH and Solana? In the meantime, I'll check them out. So ETH, what is really good about ETH, it's finally showing an impulsive swing count, because it's been lagging. It finally ended the correction from December. It's not making new highs yet, but we are seeing a good impulsive structure from the lows, which is really good for the short term specifically, because you want to see this type of structure coming from the lows, not a lag enhancement like I showed you earlier. For example, the one Filecoin, which is only showing 3 ways and failing to even retrace 50%. Now this one, you can see we have a 5 swing to the upside. It could be translated into things for now. The sound is working, I'm not sure. Can we double check here? Let me double check. I think the audio is working, at least in my end. I don't see any issue. Please, can someone else confirm the audio is working? Okay, should be fine. Just double check it. It should be working. Okay, that's good. Thank you for the confirmation, Lucky. Okay, so ETH at this stage, you can see the 5 waves is giving you 2 possible scenarios that could happen at least in the coming 2 months. Will ETH be breaking into new time highs? I don't know, and I'm not going to answer the question because we need more data. I always work with the data. Can ETH fail without making new time highs? That's definitely on the table. Does ETH need to be making all-time highs for the rest of alts to rally? Absolutely not. We have been seeing a lot of alts making new all-time highs rallying without ETH. So let's take it step by step in the short term, as we are seeing the 5-wave advance. Now ETH will give you potential 2 scenarios. 3 waves pullback. Then another rally that will be failing probably around 4,000K. I hope I'm not going a lot of hate because of this. It means it will be just retesting this trend line, and ETH will be playing something similar to what happened with XRP last cycle. It will fade to make new highs. Then, as explained in a previous session, it will develop into a larger buying opportunity in the monthly and weekly for the next cycle. That is one of the scenarios that ETH is still putting on the table. Because even if you have the 5-wave advance, it guarantees for you that ETH could be just doing another leg to the upside similar to this. That's all it's guaranteeing for now. Of course, later on with more data, if I see, for example, that ETH is showing another 5 waves like this, then yeah, I can go with the idea that ETH will hold above the lows and could break into new all-time highs. So that's why I'm saying it's step by step and it's all about the data. For now, ETH is lagging, so it needs to show more impulsive structure to